As you all know that now the year 2025 is almost coming to an end, but from Russia the news is coming that the Russian Air Force has been provided with new Su-34 fullback fighter bomber aircraft. Meaning, before the year ends, the Russian Air Force has been reinforced. Look, wherever a war is going on, factories are working overtime, especially those factories where weapons are manufactured. So Russia's arms manufacturing factories are also currently busy with preparations for the new year, and new batches of Su-34 are being provided to their Air Force. All the required ground tests of these Su-34 aircraft have been completed, and before handing them over to the Air Force, the normal flight testing has also been completed. Within the Russian Air Force, this Su-34 aircraft is an extremely versatile fighter jet, from which different types of strike weapons can be dropped on the adversary. And in this way, it can perform a wide range of missions, and this thing makes it one of the most demanding aircraft in the Russian Air Force. Meaning, you can say that for the Russian Air Force, the Su-34 aircraft is more important than the Su-57 and Su-35, especially in the context of the Ukraine war. Anyway, if you look at it, most of the air-to-ground missions are performed by the Su-34 aircraft, and it is said that Russia causes damage to the enemy mainly through these aircraft. It is reported that in 2025, Russia has been provided with approximately 14 Su-34 fighter jets and 10 Su-35 fighter jets. The number of Su-57s is separate. This is not a very impressive number. But keeping Russian conditions in mind, we can say that Russia has not achieved much success for many years in producing fighter jets in very large numbers, because these 10, 12, 14 aircraft do not fulfill Russia's demand or requirement. Look, this year we also saw that compared to previous years, Russia received export orders from other countries, including Algeria, Iran, and Ethiopia, who purchased Russian fighter jets. And they purchased all variants, meaning Su-34, Su-35, and Su-57 as well. But now look at how many aircraft Russia is producing in 1 year, only 14 Su-34 aircraft and 10 Su-35 aircraft. So how can you fulfill your local demand with such a small number of aircraft and also keep your buyers satisfied? On one side, the Russians are trying somehow to obtain a very large order of Su-57 aircraft from India. Look, obtaining an order is not a big deal. The real thing is that you also have to provide the product to your buyer, and provide it on time. And India, in my opinion, is hesitant for this very reason to sign any agreement with Russia at this time, because India can see all these things, that only 14 Su-34 aircraft are being produced per year, 10 Su-35 aircraft are being produced, and at most around 20 Su-57 aircraft will be produced. First of all, Russia has to complete its own Su-57 order, which is for 75 aircraft. After that, it also has to provide Su-57 aircraft to Algeria. 2, I think, have already been provided. Algeria would not have placed an order for only 2 Su-57 aircraft. If India places an order for Su-57 aircraft, the Russians expect that it will be in the hundreds. And even if 100 to 125 aircraft are not built inside Russia, at least Russia's effort seems to be that 1 or 2 squadrons be built in Russia and handed over to India, and the remaining aircraft be produced inside India. But even to prepare 2 squadrons of Su-57, how much time would Russia require? If Russia produces 20 Su-57 aircraft per year, it will first fulfill its own needs, then Algeria's needs, and only then will India's turn come. You can also say that Russia may put Algeria behind and first provide 1 squadron to India. But Russia will also try that at least 40 aircraft be manufactured inside Russia and provided to India, so that Russian factories also gain some benefit. Russian factories will also benefit from aircraft built in India, but not as much as if all aircraft were built inside Russia. So this discussion is about the fact that aircraft produced in such small numbers cannot fulfill the demand of both the Russian and export markets. But these aircraft, in such small numbers, are best for Russia's own Ukraine operations. Meaning, the attacks Russia is currently carrying out on Ukraine, and the guided air-to-ground weapons required for those attacks, these 14 Su-34 aircraft can easily fulfill that requirement. Meaning, if Russia has suffered any losses, these 14 aircraft will compensate for those losses. To provide cover to these Su-34 aircraft, Su-35 aircraft are also available in sufficient numbers. And even if there was some shortage, Russia has received 10 Su-35 aircraft this year. So for its own country, this number is fine, but for the export market, it is absolutely insufficient. Through Su-34 aircraft, Russians are currently dropping glide bombs extensively on Ukraine, and besides that, precision munitions that are very effective at standoff distances are also dropped from these Su-34 aircraft. And the Su-35 aircraft is currently the best air superiority fighter being produced in Russia. After the induction of these aircraft into the Russian Air Force, Russia can increase its strikes inside Ukraine, provided that all these aircraft go into the Russian Air Force and none are provided to export buyers. Then, for Russia, this number of aircraft is adequate. Look, all these Western countries, when they provide missiles and weapons to Ukraine, they put a condition that Ukraine must not use these missiles against targets inside mainland Russia. All weapons, missiles, atoms, and other systems provided by Western countries can only target Russian forces present inside Ukraine. They cannot be used against targets inside Russia. Whereas Russians do not face any such restrictions. And in this way, Russians can keep their fighter jets close to the Ukrainian border. But in recent days, we have also seen that Ukraine occasionally attacks Russian air bases with kamikaze drones that Ukraine manufactures inside its own country. If Ukrainians were allowed to use Western weapons against Russian mainland. Russia's invasion of Ukraine is now almost 4 years complete, and it is reported that so far approximately 41 Su-34 aircraft and 8 Su-35 aircraft have been destroyed in this war. And these 41 Su-34 and 8 Su-35 aircraft were mostly destroyed in the early days of the war. As the war progressed, this number gradually decreased. But it is not that no Russian aircraft were destroyed in 2025. The Russian aircraft that crashed in 2025 were mostly due to mechanical failures or pilot error. What does this tell us? It tells us that Russia does not have sufficient numbers of pilots the way it should, and Russia sends pilots into war without proper training, unlike other countries that have larger numbers of well-trained pilots. And that is why you saw that Russia even brought some soldiers from North Korea to fulfill manpower needs. But you cannot take pilots from North Korea. Pilots have to be produced inside your own country, trained there, and then shifted onto these aircraft. So the year 2025 was a mixed bag for Russia. Export orders were received, but Russia's local industry was not very successful in producing aircraft in very large numbers. So friends, this was today's information that I shared with you. Do share your opinion in the comments section. That's all for today. Thank you.